Say somebody watching that wants to just, I want to start tomorrow. What do they need? Like, give them a step, but like, because this is a podcast about growth. This is a podcast about taking action.
Of course.
You get what I'm saying? So like, you're gonna get great. This man needs no introduction. He's killing the fashion game inside and outside of Lawrence. Today, for the first episode of the Overall Drip Experience podcast, we have none other than the one and only Jimmy Weathers.
Yes, sir. Good
Talk
to be
to me,
here,
brother.
man. I appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure.
But before we get started, I'm gonna need you guys to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. I'm gonna give you a whole minute. We good. Now I'm talking.
It's last minute.
But let's get right into it, bro. Take us on a journey. Who was Jimmy Weathers growing up, and what were the little signs that showed you that fashion was your passion?
Man, you brought it back, man. I wasn't expecting this, but I mean, I feel like clothing in general, it was a testament to my whole life overall. Since I was younger, I always lived with my grandmother, so my uncles and my aunts were in the picture.
So give us like an image and a journey. So where were you? Like, where were you when you were younger? And give us like, let's start off in middle school.
So middle school, for the most part, I lived in South. And
South Lawrence.
like I mentioned, you know, I was at my grandma's house a lot. So my uncle and my aunt really influenced me. And obviously they were a little older than me. So they was always focused on, you know, being fly and getting the flyest fits and, you know, always looking good. So I kind of inherited that from them. So that was something that I kind of really, you know, took it upon myself to achieve and just make it a priority.
You said your grandmother?
I lived at my grandmother. So I was basically around my aunt and my uncle, which are her kids.
Okay.
So they influenced me to, you know, like want to stay.
So their
fly.
fashion influenced you to be fashionable.
So them
in a sense.
always like, you know, wearing the latest Jordans, the latest Nike or whatever designer it was. It kind of, you know, made a big impact on me and made me want to like get fly, you know. So I feel like.
But what showed you it though? Like when you seen it, like how'd you feel and what was like, that's what I need to do? It influenced you, I know that. But what did it show you?
Honestly, I feel like it possessed me to like make it a priority because I feel like
You needed to be fly.
Yeah, I needed to be fly because it gave me a self-esteem boost. You know, and when I had a self-esteem boost, I had way more, how can I say?
Confidence.
More confidence, more energetic to be social and everything. So being fly was something that was a testament, like I mentioned. Like it's been a part of me since I was really young.
Okay.
So I just kept running with it. And sometimes I feel like, you know, I have an advantage in a sense in the fashion community, especially out here, since it isn't as developed as it should be. But it was something that I stuck to, you know, like a lot of people go to school and, you know, they try out different majors and they keep switching up or, you know, they end up going into a career that they're not feeling that much and they end up jumping out and working a completely different thing. But I stuck to the fashion.
Stuck to the fashion.
So it's something that I've been building endurance and experience thus far.
Rock with that, brother.
Yeah.
So you were in middle school. Now take us into high school. Okay, so say me and you are boys.
Yeah.
We're in BMF, Lawrence High. We're boys, we're best friends. It's a regular Monday night.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So you said Monday or Friday?
Let's do Friday, because Friday's more fashionable, correct?
Yeah, so Friday, you know, everybody's getting ready to get fly. We had little clubs that were under 21 clubs.
But what are you doing to find your gear? Like, what are you looking for in clothing and apparel? Like, what do you like? It's Friday night. Jimmy Weathers is about to get fly. What are you looking for as an individual?
So, I mean, I was always big on music. So music definitely inspired me and inspired me to, you know, get fly and look for the certain things that the musicians were wearing. So, like, I'm not going to say bait and shit like that because, you know, obviously, like, we weren't introduced to that as earlier. We couldn't afford it. But, you know, the Rockaware, the Academics, the Nietzsche, like, I was all over that, you know. So I would make my mom give me money so I can go buy some Nietzsche or some Rockaware, and I would make it happen, you know. I would throw on the Fresh Whites, the Nietzsche shirt, whatever it was, you know, I'll throw on the bandana. It was a style back in the day. You remember Sean Paul with the bandana and the braids?
100%.
So that's how back I go with middle school and high school. But yeah, high school, I was definitely into partying a lot. So, you know, when you go party, you want to look good. You wanna feel
Showcase.
good.
That's where you showcase
There you
all
go.
your
That's where
fit.
you show all your skills and your flyness. So, yeah, that was definitely a good time.
And it's crazy because if you don't have the style, if you don't have the drip, the girls ain't gonna look at you. And what do you want to
Exactly.
parties for? For the girls.
Yeah, and I was also big on dancing. So like,
100%.
Yeah, I was like even into the choreo and all that stuff. So that's like my first love right there. Like choreography was my thing. Like I was always a dancer, hip hop mostly. I was never really in like dance crews, but I was always that person that like, you know, they'll throw some freeway or like some DMX and I'll just start busting the Harlem Shake and start dancing and shit. So yeah, it was definitely a good time.
That's fine. Okay, yeah. So we're in high school now, but when are you like, I want to do fashion? Like, so we went to middle school, we went to high school, but what part, like, is it in college where you're like, I want to do fashion and you start taking steps? Is it in college or is it in high school?
I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, my freshman year in high school, I already knew that I was meant to do fashion.
But when did you start? Like, when were you like, nigga, I need to do this? Like, this is what I need to do.
So by starting, you mean like when I started actually like producing things or when I was inspired to want to do it? What do you...
So by starting, I mean like, you're also inspired,
Yeah.
but you're putting forth the effort to actually get it done,
Okay.
to do the research, and you're like,
Okay.
doing the research and you're dipping your hands into, you know, manufacturers and you're
Yeah.
like looking, you're like starting.
So I would say it was definitely a little bit after high school because, you know, I was a little more focused and a bit more serious into my my beliefs in becoming a designer. So after high school, you know, when I was in college, I went to school for fashion and
What
I
school?
did fashion
What school did you go to?
merchandising. I went to Middlesex.
Middlesex, okay.
Yeah, and I took a few courses there, but I ended up leaving for personal reasons. But I took about like 1 or 2 fashion courses. And after that, I kind of took it upon myself to create my own internship. So, you know, I was going out there looking for establishments that work on clothing and sample making, which is like making the first design out of a production line. So I was kind of going to these places and offering to work for free. And, you know, kind of like trying to prove myself just to get the endurance and the experience. Yeah.
And that's really commendable. So you went to these people and you were like, I want to work for free. So
Yeah.
you exchanged your time for experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it was all worth it because, you know, the knowledge that I've gained has, you know, helped me out so much. And it doesn't only stop there. Like, you know, when I moved to New York, I actually moved to a fashion house. And it was a fashion house for Hugo Boss. And I was there, you know, just trying to learn how to design. And, you know, they were constantly working like on production.
Wait, so hold on. Let's rewind a little bit. No, we're good. Okay, so you exchanged your time for experience.
Yeah.
The city really needs to hear that, and that's really important because these people think that they can just get things handed to them. People in our city think, oh, yo, here, like there's handouts, but that's not the case.
It's not
at
the
the end of
case
the
at all,
day,
my brother.
you have to exchange. It's called value exchange, and that's what I talk
Exactly.
about all the time on the podcast. You have to exchange something of value for somebody to give you a handout, for somebody to do something. You have to give them something. So that's really commendable, bro.
Yeah.
And that's really like inspiring.
Yeah,
and the city needs to hear that.
Yeah, so with that being said, man, it's definitely a big, like I can't even stress how big this is. Like it's very important for you to put in the time and, you know, like get out of your comfort zone and focus on what you really want to do. You know, you really want to focus on your future because eventually, like if you don't, somebody else is going to own your future. You know, like what you want to do. You want to work somewhere for the rest of your life or you want to work for yourself. You want to be on vacation when your money's working for you. You want to be sleeping, your money's working for you.
And that's really important.
That's why you got to focus, man. Stay focused and really put in the time. Like, not everybody's going to make it, honestly. And that's the sad truth, you know?
It's the sad truth, but what I preach on this podcast is if you put your all into it, like I was telling you earlier before we came on the set, you put your all to it, you're all into it, you're not going to fail. Yeah, and I truly believe that. And the reason why people fail is because they lack the consistency.
Yeah.
Or they lack the patience, or they lack the obsession.
Yeah.
And I feel like you need all 3 of those things to become successful.
For sure.
And this brings me into my next question, which is amazing. Out of all those 3 words, which one of those words means the most to you in terms of your journey? So patience, consistency, and obsession. These are words that I take very seriously because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be where I am today. This is season 2, and you guys are tuned in. I wouldn't be where I am today, bro, with the platform I have, which is growing consistently every day because I'm showing up every single day. So which one of those words, in your humble opinion, is the most important? And which one of those words do you feel like holds the most weight in terms of your journey?
Yeah, well, to answer your question, I would say obsession, just because you really need to indulge into what you want to do. You know, if you want to be a boss, you have to be a runner, you have to be a worker, essentially. So you have to be in love with the idea of your craft. And aside from that, like it's a very tough question to answer, because these three factors need to interconnect. You know, like
100%.
You have to be consistent, you have to be obsessive, and you have to be patient, because shit doesn't happen overnight.
And that's exactly the answer I wanted, because low-key, that's kind of a trick question.
Yeah, it was. But I wanted to answer your question.
It's kind of a trick question.
Like, you asked me which one is first, so I said obsession.
Okay.
Know? And that's something that, you know, like with me and my craft and, you know, my abilities to be in love with my clothing brand and my my artistic skills overall, I feel like it's something that has taken me a long way, just because, like, you know, even when I was at my lowest points, like I would always be drawing and sketching.
Okay.
You know, and I'll just be in love with, like, you know, just coming up with ideas and just seeing the outcome.
Is that how you cope with, like, if you're feeling a certain type of way, is that how you cope with the feeling of feeling down or feeling sad? Do you cope with drawing? Is that how you do that?
I would say that's one of the things, but sometimes I kind of like want to just get away from things. Okay. Maybe like take a trip and maybe find like some different type of things to inspire me.
Okay.
So I always say that traveling is my biggest form of inspiration, just because it's giving me something new to look forward to.
Something different.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah. And that's really important. So we're gonna dive right into the fashion. So in terms of fashion, what was the first piece you put out, or the first concept you put out, and what was the driving force behind it?
That's funny, because the first piece that I ever made, it was at my lowest point in my life. Like, this was a time where I felt like I wasn't doing much with my life. You know, I was already hitting like 25, 26. And at that point, it's like, you're feeling like, you know, like you see everybody else doing their thing on social media, and you see everybody going to school, people are starting families and everything, and I wasn't doing much. You know, I had dropped out of school. I was going back and forth between shitty jobs, and I felt like I wasn't doing much with my life. So I did have a sense of motivation, but I felt like I wasn't doing enough. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because there was a quote on the back of the shirt, and the quote was, you want to make it right, but now it's too late. So like that quote right there, it just made me feel like, you know, like it's just too late, you know, but it really wasn't. But that's just how I felt at that moment, you know. Like I was in a state of mind where I was like low on funds, low on inspiration, and I didn't have any motivation. But I had my sketchbook, you know, and my sketchbook, it was what held me together, you know, like with finding myself overall, you know. So that's when I came up with that. So I made a shirt. The quote on the back said, what did it say? It said, you want to make it right? It's so old, bro, that I forget. It was my first t-shirt ever.
So your first piece was a t-shirt.
It was a t-shirt, yeah.
Okay, so your first piece was a t-shirt, and it had a quote that inspired you to keep going, to keep moving forward.
Yeah, but in a sense, like, you know, like some people go through like a negative like season in their life, or just like a phase that it's like, yo, like I hate the world and everything. So that's how I felt, you know. It was like kind of emo-ish in a sense.
Okay.
And but aside from that, it was like a mini collection. I actually dropped a red jacket. It was a windbreaker jacket. And this was a jacket that it was kind of like, I would say it was my breaking point into like getting into like a more higher end designer aspect, because this jacket was made from scratch. So I was able to like control all the measurements on it. It wasn't a piece that I just like grabbed from a place that sells like a bunch of blank items and like slapped my logo on it. Like I had a designer like cut all the measurements on it and the fitting. And
it was very intricate. That's what you're trying to say.
Very intricate, for sure.
Like you were in it detail by detail, sketch by sketch, piece by piece.
Overall, that whole entire piece was created and curated by me.
Fire. That's fire.
Yeah.
So what is the advice that you'd give to the kids or the people in our community that want to, like, you know, cope with their depression, cope with their negative mindset, cope with their thought process that they can't go over? Since you got out of it, since you were in that, like you said, an emo mindset, what advice can you give to the audience that's watching right now that wants to learn from you? Because you're clearly, I mean, you guys can't see it right now, bro, but we're in the studio.
Yeah, we're in the studio right now.
There's some heat, yo. I'm talking, but there's some heat around here, bro.
Yeah.
So talk to me.
So I mean, I would give the advice of, you know, trying to indulge in your inspiration somehow. You know, like find something that you're passionate about, and try to dive into it in a sense. But
how does one find the
something that's
passion,
gonna
though?
save you. So you got to find the purpose first. You
Find the purpose. Okay, so find the purpose, and the purpose brings out the passion.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you're gonna find the reason behind wanting to do this. Like, oh, what is this gonna give you? Is this gonna give you financial freedom? Is this gonna like make you enjoy your life? Is this gonna make you provide for your family and do something that you love and make a living out of it? So just focus on that. If that doesn't inspire you, then I don't know what will.
I truly believe that your purpose has to be bigger than life itself. In my personal opinion, like it can't just be for the money. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when the money doesn't come in, you're gonna feel depressed. So the advice I'd give to the people that are watching is like find a purpose that fuels you. Like for example, it could be for kids, for your you said it, your family, things of that nature. But don't focus on just the money. Focus on a purpose that actually will make a difference in other people's lives.
And that's good that you bring that up, because it brings it back to that question that you had for me earlier, like with the patience and the obsession and all that other stuff. Like you got to have the patience too, because things don't happen overnight. Like it's gonna take a while until you start seeing success. So 100%. You're gonna go through those trials. You're gonna go through the mistakes. You're gonna lose money. You're gonna lose a lot of time. But eventually, all of that is going to be part of the progress to build yourself up to get to that point.
And you need that, though. Like, you literally...
Those are the stairs.
You need that to build character. And that's what I talk about on the podcast, talk about that on my Instagram. You need that to build your character up as an individual. Because if you didn't go through those hardships, you are never going to appreciate the fruits of the labor.
Exactly.
And you need that, 100%. Exactly. So, since we're talking about fashion... And you don't have to get too specific about it, because obviously it's your own brand and it's your own thing. But I'm an individual. I want to start a clothing brand tomorrow. I tell you, I want to start a clothing brand. What are the steps, if you were mentoring me, what were the steps that you would give me? Like, what do I need to do step by step to bring my ideas and creativity to life? And you don't need to get specific. Like I said, I don't want to give away your manufacturer.
I'm going to give it to you for sure. So basically, like bringing it a little bit back from that.
You need to talk to the camera, bro.
Bringing it a little bit back from that, like I'm the blueprint. So if you or anybody else needs to like work on a brand that they have an idea of working on, you can come to me, So like I'm already going to put you 10 steps ahead. And that's something that like I do just to like help my people in my community, Like I want to see people in my community succeed.
Right.
Like I don't want to be selfish and just be the only one that's doing it. So if you or any other clothing brand wants to work on a line that you have an idea of, let me know and I can help you get started. But the way I started from the mud.
No, I know you started from the mud. You could tell us the story, but say somebody watching that wants to just, I want to start tomorrow. What do they need? Like give them a step. But like, because this is a podcast about growth. This is a podcast about taking action.
Of course.
You get what I'm saying? So like, you're going to get into your story 100%, but I want you to give like, what do I need to do for this, that, and the third? I want to bring out a clothing brand out tomorrow. What do I need to do?
Okay. So you would want to focus on your inspiration.
Okay.
Like find, maybe you can find other brands or look at fashion shows or, simply, find things that inspire you. Like I find inspiration from all types of places. So basically find your inspiration. Don't copy. Like you can get inspired, but don't copy. There's a thin line between that. Don't cross 100%. That line. And I would say just do your research.
Stay authentic. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, stay authentic. Because it's like, it's easy to like, you can like do your thing and shit. And like, let's say for example, like companies that like love to copy, like Fashion Nova, for example, they're all over the place. So they're so big that it doesn't matter that they copy.
100%.
But like people trying to start up like me and you, if you're going to start copying other brands, people see through that bullshit, Eventually like people that you're trying to target, they're going to see through that bullshit. So then your fan base is going to die.
And what I always say, 100%, deteriorate 100%. And what I always say is that there's always an original to a copy. Yeah. That's a quote I live with. Like that's on my back. Because at the end of the day, you're copying somebody who is successful. Because if they weren't successful, you wouldn't be copying them in general.
Exactly.
Correct, right? So if you're doing the same thing as this person, you're the copy to the original. They're the original. The original is always gonna make more noise.
And there's no respect for that.
Exactly.
Like you might make a couple dollars from the people that actually don't know
about the brand.
People that you actually want to target, they know.
Exactly.
Because they're invested in the industry.
100%. 100.
So stay authentic, and find your inspiration and do your research, and like test it out. You know, like the first trial isn't gonna be the best. You know, it might not work at all. It might work, but just test it out. You gotta go through those trials to like build that experience, you know, and get better with it. Like I've dealt with so many different manufacturers, and some have like, you know, sent me shitty products. Some has sent me like fittings that weren't right, bad fabrics, and you know, you learn from that. So now you know what to ask and expect from the upcoming manufacturers that you deal with.
100%. Okay, so you gave us some gems. You gave us a couple general things, but I want you to get specific. For example, I'll get more specific with my question. So, for example, I want you to tell me like, okay, so tomorrow I want to be a fashion designer. I need to go find a manufacturer. I need to go find fabric. I need to go find X, Y, and Z. So if you had, say there was a kid right in front of you, he's looking at you, he's like, Weathers, I need you to mentor me. I want to bring out a clothing brand, and everything takes time, but let's just say less than a week.
Yeah.
What are the steps that I need to legit take? Obviously, you told me find your inspiration, but after you find the inspiration, what are you doing next? Are you going to find a manufacturer? Are you going to find the fabric? Are you going to find, you get what I'm saying? So like, just give like quick little tidbits of like manufacturer, fabric, logo designer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I would say try to dive into like the blueprints of creating a garment. So, you know, like a lot of people have a fashion sense. A lot of people are interested in fashion. A lot of people like, you know, wearing different type of clothing to make them feel a certain type of way. So you gotta focus on finding the measurements. You gotta focus on figuring out what type of fabrics these companies are using that you like. Like this, for example, right here, this is corduroy. Maybe it has like a loose fit that you like. So maybe that's something that you would wanna move forward with in trying to create your first garment. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you gotta learn the fabrics, you gotta learn measurements, and you gotta learn quality. So those are three things that you would definitely want to focus on to start off. But like I said, you know, like bringing it back to like me and how I started is a little bit different because, you know, I didn't have anybody to teach me these things. So I started off with like dirt cheap t-shirts, you know, like low quality things. And those are things that kind of helped me realize that those things weren't good enough for me to advertise and sell to my customers. So I was able to like, you know, pivot from that and find better fabrics, better manufacturers, and, you know,
By learning from the failed experiences.
from the fails, exactly. So I love the mistakes that I went through because it taught me what not to do.
Okay.
And, you know, that's something that's like, you know,
that's really important.
yeah, it's like
for your journey.
It's universal, you know, like going through mistakes and shit like that.
You need that.
It teaches you.
Okay. So let's get into the Black Liberation Project. I've been wanting to talk about
Yeah, that
this.
was major.
So the Black Liberation Project, bro, I commend you for that.
For
I
sure,
want you to,
man.
100%. I want you to talk about the project in general, but before that, the concept behind it and how did like all these designers come about?
Yeah.
Give a little like description of like what it is in general.
Yeah, for sure,
'cause
man. I'm glad
the audience
to speak
doesn't
on
know.
that. I'm glad to
100%,
speak
bro.
on that.
Because
So
I'm a man of the
basically-
community, bro. I love
Yeah,
that.
hell
Talk to
yeah.
me.
So first and foremost, shout out my man Adriel. His handle is Ghetto Sunshine on Instagram and Twitter.
At Ghetto
and,
Sunshine.
yeah, he's the person that actually, he was the glue. So, you know, he curated the entire alliance.
The curator, okay.
Yeah. So he got everybody together, whether it was like Zoom calls or sometimes they met up to have a beer.
So how many designers? Okay,
connect.
so let's get specific. How many designers were there?
It was like, I would say like 8 designers. And I didn't even meet all of these people. You know, we got on the Zoom calls and I was able to virtually meet them, but I didn't meet them in person, you know, because I was so busy with like, you know, getting back into the city and shit, moving back from New York.
But why do you
getting
feel
settled
like-
and everything?
Okay, so why do you feel like they asked you specifically? Because there's designers in the city.
Yeah.
Why do you think they reached out to Weathers? There's other people here. Why didn't they reach out to you?
I would say because, you know, I'm one of the people out here that's doing like authentic things. You know, I'm not out here just like trying to stamp my name somewhere. You know, I really indulge into my ideas and my craft. And, you know, with the other designers that were a part of it, and it wasn't only designers, it was photographers, it was artists, entrepreneurs and everything. But for the most part, it was designers. And I would say, you know, we all had like a common ground. You know,
Okay.
so like we all focus on, you know, like designing things that we want to see our people in and we want to see our people thrive. And it's just like, you know, like a common belief that we all had, you know, and like reaching the similar goal.
Okay.
You know?
So how did he approach you? So you said his name was Adriel, correct?
Adriel, yeah.
Ghetto Sunshine. Shout out to Ghetto Sunshine.
Word. Shout out my guy.
So how did he approach you guys? Like for you to even be willing to be a part of this project? Like how did he just say, yo, Weathers, I need you for this? Or did he like DM you and say like, yo, bro, I'm doing X, Y, and Z? Like how did this even come about?
So he's somebody that I'm familiar with. You know, we chop it up back and forth. We don't hang out as much, but we definitely stay in touch, whether it's like, you know, at events or he's came to a few of my pop-up shops and showed love and everything. And we talk consistently on social media apps. But I'm pretty sure that he had this in mind before, like, you know, he even introduced it to us, obviously. And honestly, like he reached out to me in a DM, you know, talking about his whole idea. You know, we bounce ideas back and forth. So he brought the idea up to me and automatically I was with it. You know, like I'm like, yo, this is definitely something that I want to shine light on. And I respect what you're doing. You know, you're bringing a lot of designers together. And in a sense, you know, we're like creating awareness. And that's something that we really need, you know, like bringing it back to like, you know, the situation where like George Floyd and everything, like rest in peace.
100%.
But if that girl wasn't there to record, nobody would be aware of this, you know, like that officer, Derek Chauvin, probably wouldn't even be convicted if it wasn't for the awareness, you know?
100%. That's the issue we had in the past. It's like we didn't have those cameras to record back then. We had sidekicks, bro.
Yeah. So with that being said, you know, all these designers were able to use the platforms to showcase this work and, you know, spread it out through all their segments and all their audiences and everything. So he reached out to me and automatically I was with it, like I mentioned. And it was something that it was very powerful for the community, you know, like a bunch of brands that have never, you know, like collaborated in general. Like I'm pretty sure like none of these brands have collaborated with other brands. And like for all of us to come together, we all have our individual audiences. And for us to like use our platforms to showcase that, like it was just maximum exposure. And it was definitely like beneficial because, you know, we want to put on for our people. We want to shine light on the Black liberation movement. So I was very proud to be a part of it.
100%. When I seen that, I was tuned in because the other people that were a part of it, I think I do follow Mavro. Shout out to Mavro, fire photographer.
Word.
But I do follow
One of
Mavro.
the best in the city.
100%.
If not the best.
And he's coming out season 2. I promise you that. But I seen it on your page.
Yeah.
And that, even though I had you, like, this is what I do, bro. I'm going to keep it a stack. I'll talk to the audience. I have people that I know I want on the podcast. I didn't get you for season 1. So you were somewhat of a target for season 2.
That's what it is. I'm one of your targets. You know, I'm your target audience. And look at where we at. We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
So that's what it is, man.
So I see, so you were already in my target, like you were already a target for me in general. Once I seen that, you became even more of a target. And I was like, all right, we got to rush this process.
Yeah.
So that's really commendable, bro. And when I see brands come together, there's a strength in numbers. So when I see collaboration, bro, that always intrigues me and it always brings me like towards it. It always like pulls me towards it. So that's really important. And the fact that your brand really sticks with that, it's commendable.
Definitely,
okay,
man.
So let's go into your fashion shows, because I know you did a couple. You showed me a couple clips before. I'm gonna put them in this video and talk about it, bro. I don't even want to say too much because it was fire. But you,
so actually,
you just gotta
it was
talk
only
about
one
it.
fashion show.
You did one fashion show.
Yeah, it was my last fashion show. Well, it wasn't my last, but it was the last one.
The last one, okay.
And it was a shit show. I don't even gonna lie to you.
What do you mean a shit show?
Like it was like a lot. Like it was my first time doing this, so I'm new to this. I had to organize like a bunch of models, you know, help them how to walk, because it's like, you know, I'm hiring people off the street or social media that are not experienced in
Okay,
like,
so let's
doing
backtrack.
fashion shows.
Let's backtrack. Okay. So let's go. Okay, how'd you pick the models?
So basically, I put an ad out or just like a post on like, you know, doing a call casting.
Casting call?
Yeah,
Okay.
casting call, my bad. So I was doing a casting call and I just had a bunch of people reach out to me and seeing if they were interested. And I just had them audition and I would just choose from there.
Okay, so what were you looking for in a model when you did choose them?
So basically, I was just looking for people that could just like walk in a decent way. You know, I didn't want any like sloppy walks.
But in terms of their appearance, because you obviously want a certain appearance and a certain appeal for your brand. So in terms of appearance.
So, I mean, I had a bunch of other companies in it, like clothing companies in it. And I wasn't trying to get too specific with like the figure of the model. You know, I kind of wanted it to be like an open thing. So I had all different types of figures. You know, I had people that were a little heavier, people that were a little thinner. And it was just something for the community, you know. It was like my first fashion show, so I didn't want to act like all bougie and shit, like a Tom Ford or Yves Saint Laurent type of fashion show where they're just picking up like 95-pound models and shit like that. So I wasn't too specific on the fit, but I kind of wanted to just like showcase, you know, like other types of brands and, you know, have other people interconnect and, you know, spread awareness and just network overall, you know. Like that's what I'm all about, just connecting with my people. And like I'm an advocate for entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So like I love being around entrepreneurs, you know, because it's like all about making your own money.
Especially,
You know?
and that energy.
So I want to showcase that in the city because there's a lot of individuals in the city that have potential, you know.
Fire.
And there's already people that are working on their stuff. Not only artists, just entrepreneurs.
Okay. So you did that first fashion show. So what made it a shit show? Like from the outside looking in, it looked like it was put together. It was well put together. So, but before you answer that question, let's go into the other brands that were there. So what other brands were there and like, how did those collaborations come about? Because if this was your first show, what made those other brands intrigued or interested to be in your show?
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily a collaboration, but it was more a participation thing. So I reached out to them, you know, officially I would like DM them or try to get their contact information and just reach out asking them if they wanted to be a part of it.
Okay.
And luckily everybody that I asked, except Ricardi's obviously, you know, Ricardi in Boston, hard to get, but I'm gonna get there one day. Everybody else that I asked, they were down to do it. So I got Persona, which was a streetwear store in Lowell, Mass. Yeah, I had Sneaker Oven, which is my boy's sneaker company. He had some merch going on. Guapski, which is like one of my mentors, one of my really good friends, and somebody that I stay in touch with till this day. Who else? Laced in Boston, you know, they have a few stores. Shout out to Lace.
Shout out to Lace, man.
And I think that's about it. And then, my man, Locals Only. Yeah, he has some fire drip on that runway. And then me.
Okay.
So we got all together. We got all our stuff on the runway. And, you know, it was a good show. It was just a lot of organization to do. And it was my first time. So it was a lot for me. It was definitely a lot.
But it was the thing about things that are a lot, it's a great learning experience.
Definitely.
So now for the next time, you know what to expect. When you're going in there blind with no experience, then that's when things really go wrong.
That's where that endurance builds up. So now for the next show, I know what to expect. I know how to orchestrate things a little better and move forward.
100%. So let's tap into mindset. I feel like as individuals, we're creatures of habit. And without my good routine, without my good habits, I don't know where I'd be today. How crucial do you believe good habits are in terms of your personal success?
That's a good question. Routines are definitely important because you want to get in the habit, obviously the key word, of doing things in a manner where it's going to bring you up to a different level and bring you up to a better point where you're getting better with things and building endurance. But habits are something that you have to get organized with. You know, organization is very key to, like, you know, success.
Okay.
You know, you got to get organized and you got to create a habit of doing things.
And I feel like the word that you're looking for is discipline.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to habit, you have to be disciplined. Like you have, like for example, habit is something that you do every day.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, like you do it without you even thinking about it. That's what a habit is.
It's like waking up and brushing your teeth.
Exactly. So for you to build that, you have to do it every single day.
Exactly.
Which is really important. So, like we were talking about earlier, in terms of the millionaires or the rich people, like you said earlier, you said, well, I said you have to be rich mentally before it becomes monetary, before it becomes physical.
For sure.
And that's what comes with the habits, correct?
Yeah. So with that being said, like you want to be a millionaire, you got to have a millionaire mindset. And you have to put yourself in predicaments where it's like you're getting yourself out of your comfort zone. You got to try things that you never tried before. You really got to go out there and get it. You know, this shit is not for the weak. Like you got to create your value and you got to stand on that shit. You
100%.
feel me? Like it's hard to make it. It's not easy. And some people may see like artists or influencers that they're out there and they're making moves, but they don't see all the dark times that they went through. They don't see all the tribulations that they endured. You know, they don't see the progress. They only see the success. You get what I'm saying?
My man is dropping gems.
You gotta go through it to get through it.
My man is dropping gems.
You feel me? You gotta go through it to get through it.
So this goes right into my next question. Take us I want you to give us a mental movie, my brother.
Word.
So I want you to take us to your darkest time. The time where you told yourself, listen to what I'm saying though. Time where you told yourself, like, fashion is not for me. That's it. Like, I'm done. This is not it. I do not want to do fashion. How did you overcome that mindset? And how did you overcome the thought process of it in general, of quitting? How did you overcome that? How did you cope with it?
Honestly, like I mentioned in the beginning of this interview, I said that this was a testament to like my entire life overall. So it was never out of the picture. And that's one thing that, like, for you to succeed in something, you got to stick to it, whether you're in the mud or you're in the middle of it or you're getting to it. Like, you got to just stick with all the hurdles. So it never left my mind. And I never felt like fashion wasn't going to be my thing, you know? But what I can say to, like, you know, compliment that question is that I felt that I didn't want to do production anymore, because when I was working with these manufacturers at the beginning of my career, working with these manufacturers, I was getting the bad fabrics, I was getting the bad fits, and I was getting complaints from my customers, and I felt like the only audience that I had wasn't going to continue supporting me. So I felt like I wanted to pivot to doing like custom pieces where I'm just like designing things with my sewing machine and making one-of-a-kind pieces and kind of creating value in that sense.
Okay.
So that kind of like fuses your question in a way, because I never lost the belief of like succeeding in fashion. Like, it was always something that was instilled in me.
So regardless of how you felt, you never lost.
I stuck to it.
You stuck to it.
And I feel like that's one of my advantages, like bringing it back to like when I was talking about the people that go to school and they change their careers and they feel like this is not for them. I stuck to it, you know? And maybe it's not for everybody. You know, if you're in a certain career that you feel like it's not for you, that's, you know, that's what it is for you. But for me, I stuck to it and I ran it up, and that's just something that I kept pushing forward.
And that goes back to the patience, the consistency, and the obsession.
Obsession. There you go. I like those three factors.
You see how everything ties in later on in the interview?
Interconnects. That's why when I was answering that question, I'm like, yo, I gotta interconnect this, you know?
But that's the key to like a good interview. You know what I'm saying? Things from the past could tie into things later. All right, cool. So this is my favorite question, and if you watch season 1, you know what's about to come up.
Word.
And this question, bro, I love asking this question because it gives the most value to the listeners. I feel like the people that are watching right now, they're gonna listen to your answer and they're gonna learn the most from this answer. So the question is, what was your greatest failure? And think about it, it's a deep question. It's not what was your biggest L as in loss, it's what was your biggest L as in lesson. So what was the biggest L, which is the lesson that you learned from your failure that you can talk to the audience, that you can tell these people and help them overcome?
I would say it was a product that I dropped and it had a lot of negative feedback in terms of its quality. So the design overall, it was appealing, I guess, because, you know, I got a lot of sales in it, but the quality on it was not up to par to match the design. So I dropped this one design, and it was a graphic on the back of the sweater. And basically there's a certain type of print that is called direct to garment, and it's meant to be on 100% cotton. This is food for thought, so save that. So yeah, it's called direct to garment, and it's pretty much like, it's like an elevated screen print that is scanned on a garment. Okay. But this is only meant to be on 100% cotton. And I did it on polyester.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
Without having the knowledge of putting it on that. Okay. So I did it and I sold it, and it was a pre-order. First of all, it took long because it was a pre-order and people got it late. And then when they got it and they washed it, the graphic faded after one wash. So at that point, I felt like, you know, I was establishing my audience, and I felt like after that drop and that failure, I felt like I was gonna lose my audience. Okay. So I felt like, damn, you know, I failed my only audience that I have. What do I have left to support me? So at that point, I felt like I had nothing. So you felt like you were back at square one, which is important. Yeah. You felt like you were back at square one? Yes? I really was. Oh. Even below that. Below square one? Yeah. Because I felt like all of my supporters that had bought that drop were disappointed. But that put a chip on your shoulder, didn't it? I mean, in a sense, it kind of made me feel very discouraged. Discouraged, but at the end of the day, you wanted to redeem yourself as an individual. If you're a hustler,
Come on,
yeah.
bro. You for sure want to redeem
Definitely.
yourself.
It's all about how you bounce back.
So your next drop had to be
Elite.
ridiculous, elite.
Yeah.
Had to be like boom, 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 boom. Exactly. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what taught you. You learned a lot from that, and that's what you're bringing out to the audience today.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
like I said, you got to go through that to learn from it.
100%.
So it's like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have learned that I have to do that on 100% cotton, opposed to like doing it on any other types of fabrics.
And imagine if all your drops were hits. What character would you have as an individual? Somebody who's always winning. What do they have to prove? Nothing.
I mean, in a sense, I feel like, I appreciate going through the failures and the mistakes because it taught me what's wrong, so
100%.
I know what's right from wrong. So if everything was a hit, then I would have no experience in failure. So I would expect everything to always go, as planned. So when it didn't, and I was already, I was already used to all these things going right, when shit went left, I wouldn't know how to react to it, Now, like when things go wrong, it's like, all right, that's expected, but I'm gonna learn from it, and maybe I can tweak things to make this better.
And that's what I talk to the audience about as well. Like you have to be comfortable with failure. You have to learn how to take the positive from the negative, and that's what a lot of people struggle with in life in general.
Yeah.
Once a negative thing comes into their life, they're like, damn, my life is over. As opposed to seeing like, okay, this negative thing came out into my life, but what can I learn from it? Like, what can I take from this negative situation or this negative aspect, and what can I apply to the next thing that I want to do? You get what I'm saying? So that's really important that you said that, because the audience needs to hear that, because there's a lot of kids watching, there's adults watching that need to learn from that.
Yeah. People always say, expect the worst and you pray for the best. So, like, I mean, I'm not saying that that's a mindset to have, but it's like, if I have a shit show and something that I'm working on, then it's a normal day, because something always goes wrong with production, with the events, with the people that I'm working with. Somebody always lets me down. Something always goes wrong. And it's already something that I'm expecting, so I know how to cope with that.
Okay.
And
that's that's really important. That's really important, especially if you are creative. So
yeah. It's not easy. The creative industry is not easy.
It's not, because everybody has their egos and everybody has their way of doing things. You get what I'm saying?
And it's always like so many other people trying to do the same thing, It's like oversaturated. So you got all these other people trying to do the same thing, and they're all trying to go into this avenue, and it's like, all right, it's just another creative trying to promote his stuff and trying to like sell his things, So
100%.
It's like, what's gonna separate you from everybody else that's doing the same thing? I got 1,000 people trying to advertise me the same thing. Why would I buy your stuff when I got 1,000 other options? 100%. So you got to prove yourself at that point.
100%.
It's like, what are you going to provide to be different? What are you going to do to be different? This shit ain't easy. Like I said earlier, focus on your values, stand on that shit. Fuck sitting, stand on that shit.
100%.
Stand on your
10
values.
toes what? 10 toes down.
You feel me? 10 toes.
So
hell yeah, that's what it is, man. That's what it takes. For real.
100%.
This shit ain't easy, bro. It ain't easy.
So let's
it ain't
talk
for the weak.
100%. This ain't for the weak, bro. This
not for the weak.
You might see the podcast, you might see the interviews, but I'm a year in. You might see his pieces, you might see his garments. I'm gonna put the clip in here. But how long have you been doing it for?
My first drop was 2017, so 4 years.
4 years in. You're seeing the results of 4 years of discipline. Wait, hold on. Let's bring it back again, because this is what I like to do.
Yeah.
Patience, obsession, and consistency.
Consistency. Yep. Stay on it, bro.
That's what we gotta do, bro. So let's talk about the support, bro, because I love talking about this, because if I don't shed light on it, if I don't bring awareness to it, the city is never gonna know. The city is never gonna be aware. So how was your support in the city when you started? And what do you think we can do as a community to make that support better, to bring out the best in our people that want to be creatives, that want to make a difference?
Okay, well, as for support, I always had like a little audience, because when I was younger in my youth, I was always around, going to events, going to parties and socializing with people. So I already had like my fair share of people that would follow me on social media platforms and kind of were familiar with me. So when I was advertising my stuff, I already had like a few followers that were, they were presented to my ideas and my designs and shit. But, that shit expands. It's like fire, they'll see it and then they'll tell their friends about it and then they'll tell their coworkers about it. So it just spreads eventually, and then you'll have random supporters. But the
In the
advice,
city though, like
Yeah,
in the
in the
city,
city.
like so you had a minuscule amount of support in the city.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the people that were closest to you. Let's say your mom, your dad, or your cousins or your friends. When you told them, I want to do fashion, because I know fashion, in my personal opinion, humble opinion, it wasn't that big back then. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So when you told them that, when your mom wants you to be a doctor, when your dad wants you to be a lawyer, when your cousin thinks you're gonna be an engineer, when you told them that, how did they react to that?
It was something they kind of like brushed off. Like they didn't have high
didn't embrace
expectations
it.
for it. Yeah,
Exactly.
They didn't expect for it to be lucrative. So it was something that I would mention like it was my name. I would always talk about my brand, like, yo, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So I had high expectations for myself, and I always believed in myself.
Did they believe in you though? Be honest.
I mean,
Get vulnerable,
I
be honest.
talked
bro.
about it.
Did they believe in you though? That's
I
the real
talked
question.
about it so much that I kind of like made them believe in it, but like I said, like they didn't take it as serious,
Okay.
you know? So I felt like I had the power of believing in myself, and that's where it starts. You know, you believe in yourself, you can't expect other people to believe in you if you don't
Believe in yourself. You gotta know. This is something I always say too. You gotta know yourself
My
to grow yourself.
mom, she accepted it. You know, like I dropped out of school and I was working at like whatever rinky-dink jobs and shit. And every time she would come in my room when I was younger, I would always be on my sketchbook because I spent a lot of time on my sketchbook, and that's where a lot of my ideas were built up. But my mom definitely, like, she accepted it. I wouldn't say she encouraged it because she always told me, like, yo, go to school, try to get a good job, you know, the traditional thing.
Traditional, yeah.
But my cousins, they were also kind of like on the same page, like, yeah, whatever. Like, you know, everybody was hustling and working and doing all these other things. And it's like, all right, art, like, how are you going to get paid from art? You know, so it was just something that I had instilled in myself to believe in myself.
So that self-motivation, that drive is what
Self-motivation.
pushed you forward, what
Yeah.
catapulted you to the next
Yeah.
level. Okay, so
And my enthusiasm for art and just like overall art, you know, because like I mentioned earlier, like I was into dance, I was into sketching, into clothing, you know, like not a lot of people know this, but when I was in middle school, niggas used to call me Versace. And in middle school, who's wearing designer shit? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Nobody.
you're wearing Jordans, Nikes, Adidas, and shit like that. Ain't nobody talking about Gucci. Ain't nobody talking about Saint
100.
Laurent, Versace.
100.
Come on, let's keep it a stack. Who's talking about real designer shit?
And you were that person.
And people were calling me Versace.
So you were
Middle
Versace
school.
in middle school.
Yeah, and they fused it up. You remember in the song with Kanye, Versace? Yeah, so they was calling me Versace. Yeah,
So you were Versace, you were Versace.
yeah. So
All right,
I
you
knew it
remember-
from the jump. That's something that was a testament to me. I'm like, yo, fashion is for me.
That's gonna be the title of this interview, bro. Versace.
Versace. Come on, baby.
All right, so
Going back.
So Weathers, WTHRS. What does it stand for? You got the umbrella around it.
Yeah.
What is the concept of your brand in general? Like, what do you stand for, bro, as an
So I
individual?
was expecting this question. So basically, WTHRS is an abbreviation for weather spelled out, WEATHERS,
Yeah.
which is weathers, climate. And it was something that I felt like I was going to be so big that I was going to have a pedestal to shine light on and broadcast information, you know, whether it was to the youth or people that are already in their late ages or whatever the case was. And I wanted to shine light on climate change. So I felt like I was
Climate
so
change.
big that was like a topic that I was going to be able to influence. Yeah, so climate change. So this is something that it's not even about me, because maybe when it actually starts influencing the mass, I probably won't even be around. Maybe my kids will be running the fashion line, or maybe my kids' kids. But I know that eventually I was going to be able to inspire other people to focus on this topic, because it's very important to the future, you know? And this is something that, you know, I didn't want to be like selfish with this concept, you know. I want to focus on the future. I want my kids to have a good future. We got tornadoes and tropical storms and fucking wildfires going on. And it's something that it's created by climate change, you know, global warming. So that inspired me to really focus my platform on that. you know, and it's something cool that kids might want to listen to. Like, yo, yeah, he got the drip, he got the fire clothes, I want to wear that. It's around Supreme, it's around V-Lone, Babe, whatever it is. So then when they see the concept behind it, it's like, damn, he's focused on climate change. You know, we want to focus on sustainable practices, you know, recyclable practices, you know, like maybe like going towards, you know, eating less meat, and just like overall, you know, climate change.
Climate change, positivity. That's probably one of the
preserving the world, you know, for our future.
That's probably one of the best answers I've ever got, bro, on this show. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, because it's not about
it's not about you. Yeah, it's not about you.
You want to make other people happy.
100%.
You know, it's not only about you. And a lot of people get unraveled and just like, oh yeah, I want to go on vacations. I want to have all these fly things. I want to have a good life. But like, what about the next generation? What about your kids? What about your grandkids? Maybe you won't meet your great grandkids, but you want them to have a good life. I hope so.
Break that.
Yeah, that's what this to me.
Break those generational curses.
It's bigger than myself.
100%.
You know?
And that's what it needs to be at the end of the day. It needs to be bigger than yourself for it to succeed.
Yeah, so I don't like fuck with like no animal products. Like people be trying to tell me to get some leather shit going, and I would use leather, but it has to be vegan. You know, I don't really want to like promote those type of
Bro, you're talking to a vegan.
Yeah.
A year and a half, bro.
Oh, word, that's what's up, man. That's what's up.
I'm vegan, bro. I've been a vegan for a year and a half. About to hit 2 years in a couple of months. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, during this interview, bro, I rock with this man even more. He supports the vegan movement, bro. That's fire.
That's the future, man.
So, off screen, we're talking about, you know, what you have coming up next. You told me about customs, one of one's exclusivity in general.
Yeah.
Lay it on us, brother. I'm ready.
So that's my passion right there. You know, I like making things that are unorthodox and, you know, out of the ordinary, exclusive. Yeah, even with my drops, you know, I don't like restocking my things because I want my supporters to buy something and feel like, all right, not everybody buys this, you know, not everybody has this, you know, it's hard to get. And I feel exclusive in it. You put up to the club and it's like, nobody else got
that Weathers.
Yeah, eventually it's gonna grow more, but I'm gonna continue to not restock my past drops because I just want my customers to feel exclusive in it.
That's
but
really
with the
important.
custom pieces, so I'm skilled in designing, and you know, I can cut fabrics, I can sew garments together. So that's something that I'm gonna move forward with in the upcoming seasons. And I plan on doing fashion shows with straight samples. So that'll be like one of one couture pieces. So couture, it means that it's just designs that are meant for the runway, or it's something that it's like fitted for a model or whatever the case is. And those are items that I plan on, you know, putting for sale. But again, like it's a one of one piece. Nobody else in the world has it. So it's gonna have more value on it. So we'll be seeing a lot more of that.
You told me that. I was
pieces,
like,
hoodies from scratch.
You gonna have to drip me
jackets
out,
from
man.
scratch. Yeah, whatever the case is. Yeah, we're gonna come different for sure. For sure.
real different.
Yeah.
Real different, real different. What does your day-to-day look like, and what projects are you currently working on today?
Well, I'm a family man, so I have my son and my girl, you know, I cherish them, so they come first before everything. So day-to-day life, man, I wake up, you know, be with the family, cook breakfast, you know, be with my son, with my girl. And after that, it's just, you know, you got to jump into the routine.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have that habit. So whether I'm like going on a website to study something or look up articles about the fashion industry, you know, I tap into that a little bit, even if it's a little bit, you know, just to like get those creative juices going.
Yep.
And, you know, whether I got to check in on like my production line with my manufacturer or my business partners, you know, you got to tap into every aspect of, you know, what I got going on overall in my life.
And what projects are you currently working on today?
So right now I'm working on a summer collection. So I got a bunch of shorts coming out, swim trunks, regular shorts. I got button-up shirts coming out, so the guys could get, you feel me, get jiggy in the summer. You know, I don't want to just do athleisure. So I want to step it up and elevate the style, you know, and bring it up to like jeans and button downs and shit like that. You know, step it up a little with the style. I got the bucket hats, I got shorts, I got the socks, t-shirts, more hats, and just, you know, just summer shit.
How do you choose, like, you know, in terms of collaboration, how do you choose, like, oh, this is somebody I want to work with, and how do you accept certain things?
So in terms of a collaboration, like collaborating with other artists or
Other
brands?
artists, other brands, Bastion Flash in the City. Now I'm talking shit.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, like with certain things, like especially something like this, to be specific, like I'm all for it because it's like, you know, we're doing things for the city, you know, like you're working on your podcast, I'm working on my brand, so we're creating awareness.
But even, yeah, 100%. But even with like, you know, with clothing.
Oh yeah, I'm
collabs.
selective. I'm selective because it's like a lot of people hit me up to collab, and that's gonna happen. You know, once your platform starts growing, people are gonna start hitting you up from all types of places, talking about, yo, let's work. Yo, what's up, big bro? Let's do this. Let's do that.
You're always big bro when you gotta give a big platform.
For sure.
Yo, big bro.
Yeah, and you don't want to like treat it in a sense where it's like, ah, man, fuck that. Like, I don't want to work with this shit. You know, I actually like take it into consideration and I look it over, you know, and see what they're working with. But you can't make decisions fast, you know. You gotta be selective.
Really
you know,
selective.
to keep your value, you know, because you don't want to just work with anybody.
100%.
So that's where I make my decision, you know, like if it was somebody that is like has a bad reputation or your work is just not like good, I don't want to work with anything that's mediocre, you know, even though in a sense it kind of sounds messed up, but it's like you see yourself in a certain level and you don't want to like stoop down, you know, and have somebody else trying to come and just, you know, leech on your success just because, you know, you're in a different level and they want to get on that level. But if it's something that I see potential in, like there's brands that I help out, you know, with their production and I see their potential, you know, I look into it and I like helping, you know. So if I see that you're serious about it, then I'm gonna rock with you.
Divulge into that a little bit. So what do you mean you help out with their production? What do you mean?
So right now, I'm working with my manufacturer and I'm having other brands come to me and do their production, and they're going through me to do everything.
So you're the middleman in a sense.
I'm the middleman, basically, yeah.
Okay, so they come to you. All right, so let's talk about that. So they come to you with a concept. They say,
Yeah.
bro, this is what I want to do, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So what do you do at that point? So I come to you and I say I want to do X, Y, and Z. What do you do?
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point?
So let's use you for example. So you want to start a clothing brand soon, and you see that I'm doing my thing. So you come to me for advice, and you ask me, yo, how do I get started? And I hit you back with the, well, I can actually help you get started, you know, like I can help you focus on whatever you want to do and help you get it to the next level. So from there, we take all the steps to, you know, move forward with the procedure of getting your designs done.
Okay, so you talk to the manufacturer, but they just go through you.
Yeah, so the clients come through me, and then I'll outsource to
You
the
outsource to the manufacturer.
Yeah. So when I was in New York, I used to go to this embroidery spot, and they used to embroidery like my sweaters and shit like that. And one time I was just waiting for my shit to be done because I didn't have anything else to do, you know? So I would just sit there and wait for my embroidery to be done. And apparently Floyd Mayweather's nephews walked in. I didn't know they were Floyd Mayweather's nephews at the time, but once they started having the conversation, I jumped into the conversation and I'm like, oh, word, that's what's up, yo. If y'all need anything, let me know. I'm at your service. Weathers. So they're like, yeah, what you working with, this, that, and the third. And nowadays, everybody wants to start a brand. You know, everybody wants to start a clothing brand. Everybody wants to start a side hustle. And a brand is something that, you know, it's creative, so you get to kind of have fun with it. You're doing the photo shoots, you're going to events and shit like that. So if there was a side hustle that anybody would want to start, in my opinion, it's a clothing brand because you're having fun with it, you're getting fly, and you're meeting people, you know? There's all other types of shit. You could start a vending machine company, you could start a barbershop, you could start anything, but clothing, you're getting fly, and you're meeting people, you're meeting women, you're meeting potential supporters, whatever the case is, you're having fun overall. So, the nephews told me like, yeah, we're trying to start a brand, this, that, and the third, what you working with? So I showed them my sketches, and I don't normally show people my sketches, but I'm like, yo, I'm gonna show it to them just cause like I want to show them what I'm working with. So they start seeing my sketches. I go crazy with the sketches. I've been sketching since I was in 3rd grade. You know, it's been like over 20 years. So I show them my sketches, and they're like, damn, this shit is fire. And then I start showing them like footage from my fashion show and everything, and they're like, this shit is hard, like OD hard. So they start fucking with me, they start following me, and then I stay connected with them. And then, you know, I'm reaching out constantly, telling them that, oh yeah, I could get this done for you, I could get that done for you. So then they start fucking with me, and then they start telling me that they can get my stuff on their uncle, which is Floyd Mayweather. So I'm like, I bet. So I go
Floyd Money Mayweather, the man with the biggest purse or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I was at his
Spends
event.
all the
I don't know
bread.
if you've seen it, but I was at his
You
event.
at Floyd Mayweather's event.
I chill with his family.
You chill with Floyd Mayweather's family.
Yeah. And I'm actually still doing production for one of his nephews.
That's crazy.
So basically, I'm like, all right, let me go all out. I want to prove myself. I want to get my stuff on famous people, you know, so I can create more awareness. So I go to New York and I buy the most expensive silk. It's just mad expensive, bro. And then I go to my my old house where I lived with Hugo Boss, and I have them make it for me because they're stitching and they work for Hugo Boss, so that's self-explanatory. They make shit fire. So they're making the suits for me. The whole process is mad expensive. I'm going to New York. I'm buying the fabric. I'm taking the trains to go get the fabric. I'm going back to the house. I'm paying for all this shit. I'm buying food every day. So overall, the whole process was mad expensive. So I make the clothes for Floyd. I make a silk ensemble, which is a conjunto, which is like a jacket and some shorts. And it's Floyd Mayweather's birthday coming up in February, so I go to Miami for his birthday. His nephew's like, yeah, we got you. We're gonna get it on him and everything. So I go out there and we're at his party and there's like 1 million people fucking surrounding him. So I couldn't even get to him, but I'm with his family. So we're in the back in the VIP and everything. We're chilling. And then at the end, I have everything made for him already.
What'd you take from that experience?
So what I took from that was...
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. That, and also that, like, you gotta focus on your target audience. You know, like, Floyd Mayweather was not my audience. You know, like,
you gotta talk to the camera. You gotta talk to the people.
Yeah, so Floyd Mayweather's not my audience. He's somebody that, you know, like, he just wears the flyest, most expensive shit. And I'm actually in the business of targeting people that are into fashion, you know, actually like dressing nice, fashion forward. And I started pivoting my attention towards that. So after that, I started reaching out to, like, you know, fashion influencers, people that actually dress in a sense where, like, I want them to wear my stuff. So I started actually reaching out to these people and getting connected with them. And I started sending them free clothes, and now they're advertising it. And these are people that actually, like, you know, dress in a sense where it's like fashion forward, you know? So now I'm actually working with people that I want to target, opposed to just getting people that are going to give me maximum exposure, you know?
Yeah, just clout.
So with that being said, it made me realize that, you know, I actually want to grow my brand in the right way instead of fast, you know? Because now in this day and age, people want to just go viral right away, and they want to leave their 9 to 5 and just make money off their side hustle and just be famous right away. But this is something that you have to, like, build up, you know, and take it step by step and build it the right way instead of fast.
The words of Nissy, it's a marathon, not a race.
It's a marathon,
Facts.
it's a race.
I'll give you
So
that.
that's where we at with it. So right now, I feel like, you know, quality doesn't have any fear of time. Because if you know that you're going to put something out there that is actually going to create some substance and actually speak to your audience, then you know you're going to get reciprocation from that. Opposed to just doing something fast, slapping something, like slapping your logo on something and just expecting people to support you, you know? I'm creating something that people actually want to wear, opposed to something that I want people to support.
And that's really important. That's really important. And when you sit down at night and you think about your future, because you're a visionary like myself, you wouldn't be here if I didn't think you were. When you think about success, when you think about, boom, I made it, what does that life look like for you? Like, for you to sit down and be like, I'm legit in heaven, I'm here, and I made it. Tell the audience.
Honestly, I feel like everybody has their own perspective on success. You know, some people want nice cars, big houses, they want nice jewelry, they want to be traveling all the time, and all those things are cool, you know, like that makes you feel like you're living, and you know, I like those things too. But to me, I feel like if I can make a living off something that I love doing, like making clothes and being able to spend time with my family, being able to go out to eat and being able to laugh and just being around people that I love, I feel like that's success to me.
That's
you know,
success.
I don't need the nice watches, I don't need the fancy cars. All those things are extras, you know, like.
And they're temporary at the end of the day.
Exactly.
they're gonna be here. Like a watch is gonna be a watch.
And is it an investment? You feel me? Like, is it an investment to have all these things? I mean, it could be. You can sell it or whatever, but it's like, all right, am I gonna buy a house and rent it out? Or am I gonna buy a house and live in it?
Exactly.
I feel like if I haven't bought my house yet, which I'm planning on soon, but if I buy a house, I feel like the first one is gonna be for me to rent out so I can make money on it.
100%. You gotta get the duplex, bro.
Exactly.
You can't get that single family. You'll lose money.
Yeah.
But you're looking at things to appreciate and value. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Which makes the most sense. So now this is the segment where we grab the questions from the audience. We both ask people, what do we need? What do you want to hear from Weathers? And we're going to tell you. So I grabbed a couple questions from my audience on Instagram. I did a little questionnaire. And the first question is, what do you think of this generation when it comes to creating opposed to last generation? And is there a difference? And if so, why do you think so?
How far back do you want to go in generations? Like in terms of like what, 2000s or the 90s?
I mean, you can go back to the early 2000s.
Okay. So with the 2000s, I feel like we didn't have the ability to have the exposure that we have now, you know, in terms of things going viral. Technology overall. Okay. So I feel like it was way harder to get out there. So the talent that actually, you know, exploded back in the day, you know, with the celebrities that we know, like, you know, DMX, Jay-Z, Aaliyah, and all these names, I feel like those people were excruciating when it came to the talent, because these people had to like get on the radio, do events, and find a way to advertise themselves. Nowadays, we can go on social media, get a viral TikTok video, and it's like, all right, you got all these promoters.
And all your platforms.
All these supporters, my bad. Like, look at like 6ix9ine, for example. Like, he's not a good artist. He had a good breakout song, I'm not even gonna lie. Like the Gummo song, like before he was a snitch and everything, he had a great breakout song, and nobody can deny that. But it's like, that's a song that it didn't have a lot of substance. It just had a lot of hype, and it went viral, and that was a breakout song, and he became famous for the rest of his life.
That's all it really takes.
Back in the day, I feel like that was impossible.
Hell no. Hell no.
We got social media and all this ability to get awareness.
And a lot of people
not the same.
A lot of people do things for clout now as well, because they know cameras are gonna be around.
Yeah.
They're gonna give out all the money. Yeah. They're gonna make a big show. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're gonna make a scene like, oh,
they're gonna play,
yeah, they're gonna stomp their feet and go crazy. Fire.
So there's that, with that question.
The next question is, as a designer, do you ever go through designer block? And do you find yourself at times finding it hard to find inspiration? And if so, how do you go about it?
Honestly, I really like that question, because that shit holds mad weight, and like the things that I go through a lot of hiatuses. You know, like even right now I'm going through a hiatus because it's something that like makes me feel like I don't even want to design for the summer. I'm more of an outerwear type of designer. You know, I like making coats, hoodies, jackets, outerwear. And you know, for the summer it's very lightweight, so you just gotta simplify your inspiration in a sense. I mean, you can still go crazy with like certain graphics or whatever the case is. You know, you're limitless when it comes to designing. But in the summer, I don't like designing, so I don't have a lot of inspiration for the summer.
But how do you find the inspiration though? How do you go about it? Like, say like you can't think of anything, how would you go about it?
I feel like I kind of just like, how can I say? I would just like...
You said traveling. That was one of the things you mentioned.
Yeah, traveling. And honestly, I feel like I just like limit myself to things that I actually want to do in the summer. Nah, that was a bad answer.
So you say events. Wait, is that a bad... Like, I'm going off that.
Like when you have it's okay to have, you know, a block or like something that's kind of like, you know, making you like lose motivation. You're human, you know, so you go through emotions, like you're going through a roller coaster, but you just got to focus on ways to like bounce back. You know, you can't afford to stay in that motion where you have no inspiration or motivation.
So focus on the positive. That's what you're saying. Basically focus on what could be, not what is.
Basically just focus on that you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have no other options, especially when you have people depending on you. In my in my position right now, like I have my son, and I feel like I have no option to feel like, oh damn, I don't feel like doing anything today, you know, I'm just gonna take the day off. Like I don't have that option because now I have somebody else depending on me. So I can completely negate that whole comfort zone and just do what I have to do. But at the same time, like you really have those days where like you just want to sit back and watch a show, and that's okay. Just don't stay in that mode.
What advice do you have for people that get stuck in that mode? Because once you break your good habits and your good routine, that could be you for like the next 2-3 weeks, and you could lose 2-3 weeks of progress.
So just know that it's not like a permanent thing. Know that it's a permanent.
Temporary.
No, it's not a. It's a temporary habit. You know. So you're not a procrastinator. Tell yourself, speak to yourself, and talk yourself out of it, and just find the inspiration somehow. You know, deep within yourself, find that you can make it happen. You know, just don't stay in that motion. You know what they say, man. You gotta bounce back.
100%.
You know, like don't stay in that fucking mood. Don't stay in that mood.
And I feel like you have, like I said earlier, you have to know yourself to grow yourself. So that comes with being self-aware.
Yeah.
You have to be really self-aware to know, like, okay, right now I'm in a stump.
Word.
Right now I can't progress. Right now I know what I'm doing is not right. But you have to know yourself to get to that next level.
And it's okay to go through that, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like it's all right.
As long as
like,
you're
nobody's
aware.
perfect, you know, like a lot of people in this generation, they want to like broadcast and promote the success and the good things. And nobody talks about like, oh, when the stock goes really down and you lose mad money, or when you have no motivation, or when you're like stuck on a show and you just want to binge watch it the whole day. Like it happens, you know, we're human, we're not perfect. You got to accept those things, but you got to realize that what you're going to do for your next move is going to affect your future. So bringing it back to the beginning of this conversation, focus on your future so somebody else doesn't own it.
100%.
And if that doesn't speak to you,
then I don't know what to tell you.
You're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay stuck, bro. I don't see myself working for somebody else for the rest of my life. And I don't want to speak for everybody because, you know, some people have they have like, you know, security. You know, you got that check coming in.
You have that fear.
Yeah.
The fear.
So it's okay to, you know, if you like your job and you're getting paid decent, you know, and you feel like you can make a living out of it, and you can, you know, you can make time for your family and for your job and everything, then that's cool. You know, everybody has their own interpretation of success. But for me personally, I feel like I need to like own all the money that's coming to me. You know,
And-
I don't want anybody else owning my time.
And let's not get it misconstrued though. You could use your 9-to-5 to build.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To fund your future success. You could use that. So
Yeah.
a lot of people think when people say, oh, don't work for an individual, don't work for the white man.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Oh,
You
yeah,
could
use that.
You could use that to build it.
Yeah, I
If you
don't
make it
advise anybody to like quit their 9-to-5 and just go full throttle with their
100%.
career or their aspirations.
you're making
but
60K and you're 23, 24, bro, you could
use that.
invest
That's
that
consistent
money.
income.
100%.
You can use that money. Keep your 9-to-5 and invest into your dreams until your dreams overpower your 9-to-5.
Exactly.
And that's something that's universal. You know, everybody says that. So
But if you
it's
want
not a
to
broken wheel. You know, you don't got to fix it. Just make it work for you. You know?
100%. And if you want to kickstart your success, you got to drop everything. No, I'm just talking shit.
Yeah, now me personally, like I'm not working right now. Like I went all out with this. So it's like if this doesn't work,
There's no if, bro. We talked about it. There's no if.
there's no if.
But peep game though, you're at the level right now, bro, where you're like at the bottom. You're like out of your comfort zone. You have to do
Yeah.
it. So mentally, bro, you're like, I have to do it. So you're not gonna fail, bro. I remember this conversation, and it's gonna be on YouTube. You are
Right.
not gonna fail, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's either you're gonna do it, you're gonna go forward and make the money, or you have a kid depending on you, you have a wife depending on you.
It's
You
either
have all
I'm
this
gonna do it or I'm gonna do it.
Oh, he's either gonna
That's
do it, yeah.
Ain't no other option.
I'm gonna do the poll, bro. Do it. That's
Yeah.
it. You gotta click one, bro.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it is.
And the last question, well, one of the last questions we have for you is, when did you realize you were impactful in the city of Lawrence?
So honestly, I felt like I created an impact in this city when my things started selling out. You know, I started getting support from strangers, and I was getting strangers coming up to me or direct messaging me, telling me that they love what I do and they look up to me, and I inspired them. So that kind of like gave me more motivation to keep inspiring. I feel like inspiring people is very influential, and powerful, you know, especially in an urban community where like people are taught to just be workers, you know, going to school and getting a job and keeping just one job. Like, don't limit yourself, you know? Like, I feel like having a clothing brand and doing things that are out of the ordinary, you know, like the schools in our area, they don't provide this type of career, you know? A lot of other careers, you know, like even like owning houses or being an entrepreneur or owning any type of company.
Financial literacy. Take Action Inspires coming soon, bro. Nonprofit. Take notes.
Yeah.
But
So that's big
that's
to me,
fire.
you know, influencing and inspiring.
okay.
I love that shit, bro, especially for the youth. Because it's fucked up how they kind of like boxes into just like, you
The
know,
youth is the future, bro.
guiding us to just, you know, going through a gateway where we're going to school and then getting a job and just like doing that job for the rest of your life. It's like, yo, bro, I can own 500 houses. I can own different corporations. I can make money when I sleep. You know, and school doesn't teach us that.
They don't teach us that on purpose, though. You have to have a certain father
They wanna
figure.
keep us boxed in.
They want to keep you boxed in because that's how the economy stimulates.
Yeah.
They need workers, bro. Like, I'm gonna keep it a stack.
Oh yeah, for
Not
sure.
everybody can be a boss. People
Exactly.
want to be a boss because it's cool.
That's why I say that not everybody's gonna make it.
That's 100%. That's the
just
sad
the
reality.
reality.
That's a sad reality.
Exactly.
But everybody wants to be a boss, but they don't want to put in the work. And that's what
Some
differentiates.
people do, you know, you can't discredit people.
Huh?
Some people put in the work, but if you don't put in the work, then it's like,
See, some people put in the. All right, so here's the thing, though. So we get into a little debate. Some people put in the work, but then they lack the patience. So they'll put in the work for a year, go hard as hell for a year, but then a year and a half, they're like, yo, nothing's happening. Boom. When that next month, that next day, that next minute, they could have popped off and just boom. So if you're putting in the work and you're staying consistent, I don't see why you will not make it. And that's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's the patience. It's the consistency. And one more time, give it to him, bro. It's the obsession, bro.
Nah, you got survivors in every storm, bro. There's tropical storms, there's hurricanes, and you got the people that survive, you know? And I'm not necessarily like using that term in the sense where it's like a reality. I mean, it is a reality, but it's like a metaphor in a sense where it's like, you know, you got the people that are gonna make it from the people that are not, and the people that do make it, it's a way smaller chance of them making it.
Yeah, but if you
know
think
what I'm
about
saying?
it, if everybody was a boss, who would be the workers? There needs to be workers, bro. Like, not everybody's built for this.
That's just reality.
And that's the harsh reality.
Like, we need the people to like work at the Walmarts and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's just the reality.
it's kinda messed up.
If not, then it's like, yo, who are we gonna go for when we're gonna get something cheap?
Exactly. That's that reality. So I'm gonna transition into the game. It's called Say That. So I'm gonna say a word or a phrase, and you're gonna give me the first thing that comes to your mind. The only rule is that you cannot repeat the same answer.
All right, bet.
Got it? It'll be just quick words. I'm just raffling out to you, basically, dishing out to you. So let's get started. Passion.
Power.
Weathers.
Climate.
Lawrence.
Urban community.
Creativity.
Passion.
I thought you already said passion. Did you say?
No, you said passion.
said passion.
I said power. I didn't repeat myself. Y'all caught that.
Yeah, I'm lit. Nah, this is
We was
going.
sipping a little bit of wine, you know, get the juices flowing, relax.
All right, clothing,
Unique.
brand.
Ownership.
You hitting me strong, bro. You usually I get a couple seconds. I'll keep it a
I'm
stack.
coming with the power hits.
All right, one right here, BASTIENDRIP. Don't think about it, quick.
The city, man.
And the Overall Drip Experience podcast.
Yes, sir. Awareness for the urban community and building.
The future. Rock with that, brother.
For sure.
Weathers, it's BASTIENDRIP, the
out
flies
here,
in the
man.
city, aka the young intellectual.
Drip.
And we